Right, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this village board meeting to order on Monday, October 19, 2020. We're meeting virtually tonight because it is not yet practical or prudent to meet in person. So the first thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I'd like to ask that all rise and join the village board in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America
and to
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
and
justice for all.
Thank you. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Trustee Scaletta,
Here.
Trustee LaBedz,
Here.
Trustee Padovani,
Here.
Trustee Canty,
Here.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Here.
Trustee Baldino,
Here.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Here.
Trustee Rosenberg,
Here.
President Hayes.
Here. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, and we have two sets to approve tonight. The first is from the village board meeting of October 5, 2020. Are there any changes or passes?
Pass.
Passed by Trustee Padovani.
Move approval of the village board meeting minutes of October 10th, 2020.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Rosenberg, seconded by Trustee Scaletta. Any further questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Rosenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Next are the committee of the whole meeting minutes from that same evening, October 5, 2020. Passes by Trustee Padovani again.
Yes.
And anyone else? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Move approval.
Second.
Motion to approve by Trustee Canty, seconded by Trustee LaBedz. Any questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Rosenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Next are the approval of the accounts payable. And I would call on Trustee Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. I move approval of the warrant register with a check date of October 15th, 2020 in the amount of $2,330,559.45.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Rosenberg, seconded by Trustee Scaletta. Any questions or comments from the board? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Rosenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Padovani,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Well, next under recognitions and presentations, we have our annual, very special presentation of our Disability Employment Awareness Award by our Commission for the Citizens with Disabilities. And so we, again, have a very special presentation to award tonight, celebrating National Disability Employment Awareness Month, also known as NDEAM. Held each October, National Disability Employment Awareness Month is a time to celebrate the many contributions of America's workers with disabilities and the importance of policies to ensure that all Americans who want to work can work. This year's theme, marking 75 years since the first observance in 1945, is increasing access and opportunity. This year marks not only the nation's 75th observance of NDEAM, but also the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. U.S. Secretary of Labor Eugene Scalia stated ensuring that America's workplaces continue to include and accommodate people with disabilities will be an important part of our economic rebound. People with disabilities are experienced problem solvers with a proven ability to adapt, said Office of Disability Employment Policy Deputy Assistant Secretary Jennifer Sheehy. She also emphasized now more than ever, flexibility is important for both workers and employers. NDEAM celebrates the ingenuity people with disabilities bring to America's workplaces. Our Commission's aim in giving this award is to honor and acknowledge an Arlington Heights employer known for employing individuals with disabilities. It is hoped that this award would be an encouragement to other Arlington Heights employers to proactively recruit, train, and hire qualified workers with disabilities. The original dog barber demonstrates a commitment to providing a supportive work environment for their employees with disabilities and recognizes the value of this particular worker's contribution. At this time, I'd like to invite Michelle Ramsey, a chairperson of our Commission for Citizens with Disabilities, to say a few words regarding this year's award. And Michelle, I see you've joined us tonight, so if you could make yourself visible and unmute, and there you go. Michelle, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. On behalf of the Commission for Citizens with Disabilities, I'd like to thank both you, Mayor Hayes, and the Board of Trustees for recognizing the importance of this award presentation this evening. In promoting the employment of people with disabilities, it is events like this that bring the issue to the forefront. People with disabilities have much to offer employers, and the nomination for the original dog barber is a testament to that fact. As Mayor Hayes shared, this year marks both the nation's 75th observance of NDEAM and also the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. In addition, this is the 12th year the Commission has honored an Arlington Heights employer for their efforts in employing people with disabilities. My fellow commissioners and I are thrilled that the village celebrates this award with us and that people with disabilities are able to share their gifts and talents with our local employers. We applaud Chris and everyone at the original dog barber for their commitment to hiring, training, and retaining people with disabilities. Thank you very much.
Well, thanks, Michelle, and thank you to not only you, but all the members of the Disabilities Commission for all the great work they do each year on behalf of our citizens with disabilities. Unfortunately, we had to cancel Disabilities Day this year at Frontier Days, along with the whole festival, and some other exciting plans that I know the Commission is working on. And so hopefully we'll be back to somewhat of near normal, at least next year, and the Commission can continue their great work. So again, thank you. And at this time, I'd like to cue Kevin in the back, if you would, to present a video of acceptance from the dog barber. Kevin?
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Chris Danka from the original dog barber. I'd like to thank the Village of Arlington Heights for this award, and also Steph's mom, Marlene, for writing to the village on my behalf. From the beginning, Steph has always been a very positive influence on our staff. She's integrated herself well, has been great with the dogs, has identified what her job title is and what we need her to do throughout the day. And I think given the opportunity, many people like Steph would also thrive in similar conditions, just given the opportunity. There's not a day that goes by that I don't regret having Steph on our staff. And on behalf of myself and the staff at the dog barber, I would just like to thank you for this award.
Well, thank you, Chris, and all of your team at the Dog Barber for all of the great work that you do on behalf of citizens with disabilities. We thank you for being a representative of all of the employers within our village that do hire people with disabilities and give them the opportunity to work that they so deserve. And so, in honor of your award here this evening, I would like to just display the plaque that we will make sure you get as soon as possible. So There we go. Congratulations again, Chris, and all members at the Dog Barber for all of your great work. And again, congratulations to our Disabilities Commission, and thank you, Michelle, for being here this evening. And again, give our thanks to all members of the commission for all the great work that they do.
Thank you very much.
Right, there being no other recognitions and presentations, we'll move on in the agenda to citizens to be heard. Becky, did we receive any comments in advance of our meeting this evening?
No, Mayor, we did not.
Mayor,
Okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm told that there's a issue with the public link. And so if we want to pause the meeting for a moment, there are no public participants. We think there may be an issue with the public accessing the meeting. If we could get everyone just to stand by. Diana is working on it. I apologize.
Okay, we will do that.
Looks like she opened it up. It's
Yeah, I
coming
see
on.
there, the attendees are populating now.
Okay, we're checking with Diana and Kevin. It may be resolved. Stand by. We'll let you know.
It's Diana, and we're resolved.
That's like a scary movie.
Okay, I think we're ready to go. I do see public participants. We have 12 participants. And so we are under citizens to be heard in our agenda. And I've been advised by the village clerk that no one submitted comments in advance. But I would give an opportunity to anyone in the audience to address the board for no more than 3 minutes at this time under citizens to be heard on items not on the agenda. So are there any members of the audience who wish to address the board under citizens to be heard? I'm seeing no hands being raised at this time. And so going once, going twice, going 3 times, we will close out the citizens to be heard portion of the agenda and move on to old business. And we do have 2 items to report out from our meeting of October 12, 2020. And for the first item, I would call on Trustee Schwingbeck.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. I would move now, as I did then, to direct staff not to proceed with the preparation of an agreement with Simple Recycling for textile recycling services.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Schwingbeck, seconded by Trustee Baldino. Any questions or comments from the board? Anything from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes?
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee Rosenberg,
Yes, sorry.
Trustee Padovani,
I'm going to pass. I wasn't there.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Well, before I call on Trustee LaBedz to make the motion on the second item, I would like to call on the village manager, Randy Recklaus, to just introduce this item for our public who was not present at the last meeting. Randy?
Thank you, Mayor. As discussed at the COW meeting last week, we are very happy to report that we received very favorable proposals from various solid waste haulers for our single-family solid waste contract or garbage contract. Based on that process, staff is going to be recommending that we renew with Root to be our waste hauler effective April 1st of 2021. While a final vote on this item will occur once the contract is finalized, I did want to report some of the details of the renewal. Under the new contract, Root's fees will be going from our current rate of $12.33 per month for the basic service to $11.30 a month. So that's a reduction of 8% of the base fee. Under this contract, come April, residents will actually be paying less than they were paying in 2016. Along with that decrease, there actually will be a number of service enhancements. Starting in April, residents will now be able to place 2 electronic waste items to the curb per week, including old televisions. They'll also be able to put up to 5 free yard waste bags out in April for spring cleanup. There'll be details on when they can do that. There also will be a 10% active duty person discount, as well as some other enhancements. And again, these changes would go into effect in April. I should also note that we are recommending the elimination of the optional twice-a-week garbage pickup service that we currently have due to the damage that it does cause village roadways. We want to reduce traffic as much as possible on roadways. Currently, just a little more than 7% of our households utilize that service. But again, that change would not go into effect till April. More information will be put out as we get closer to the new contract date, and we are recommending a 7-year agreement with Groot. And just wanted to put that out there as we report out on this item.
All right, thank you, Mr. Recklouse. At this time, then, I would call on Trustee LaBedz.
Thank you, Mayor Hayes. I move tonight, as I did on October 12th, that the Committee of the Whole concur with the staff's recommendation that Groot be retained as the village's refuse hauler for a 7-year contract with once per week refuse collection.
Second.
Motion by Trustee LaBedz, seconded by Trustee Canty. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, anything from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee Rosenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Padovani,
I'll pass because I wasn't there.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Well, thank you to all those involved in this effort. It's something that I think will be very beneficial for our community. And so thank you to all those in the health department and all those who worked in getting us this very favorable contract.
Mayor,
Trustee Scaletta.
I just a point of order. I see that our attorney has popped on, and I wanted to specifically ask a question that has to do with, we had started the meeting and we didn't have the general public, and citizens to be heard is used for citizens to talk about issues that are not on the agenda. And so we did 4 things prior to the public. 2 of them had to do with approving minutes, and 1 had to do with approval of the warrant register. And I just wanted to make sure that we gave residents an opportunity that if they had a comment specific to the warrant register or those minutes, that they had an opportunity to speak out now. And I'll ask our attorney, is there anything else that needs to be done just so that we are doing this the right way?
Thank you. Trustee Scaletta, that's exactly why I turned my camera on. I appreciate that. Mayor, I do suggest just a quick recitation of the items that the public may have missed due to the technical issue that the manager relayed. And then to the extent that you would normally solicit comments on any of those items, I think it would be warranted to ask that of the public that is now here, just out of an abundance of caution. I'm not concerned from a legal perspective, but I think it's probably just good form to do that in light of the virtual format that we're meeting in tonight. So thank you, Trustee Scaletta. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Trustee Scaletta and Attorney Passman for that good advice and suggestion. And so I will do that at this time, just to review the items that we did cover before the public was able to join us. And so we did approve 2 meeting minutes, one from the Village Board meeting of October 5, 2020. Are there any members of the audience who wish to comment on the Village Board meeting minutes from October 5, 2020? Seeing none. And then we also considered and approved the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from that same evening, October 5, 2020. Any members of the audience who wish to comment or question the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes from October 5, 2020? Seeing none. And then the other item of business that we conducted was approval of the warrant register dated October 15, 2020 in the amount of $2,330,559.45. Are there any members of the audience who wish to comment or question the warrant register dated October 15, 2020. Mr. Ecklaus.
No, I was just going to point out, if there were no comments, that in addition, for folks at home that may have wanted to watch the disability presentation, I'll point out that this meeting will be replayed on cable in its entirety, and so people will be able to watch that whole presentation as it's repeated on public access, and it'll be in the next couple of days put on our website so people can watch the video of that as well.
Yeah, thank you, Randy. And I do see a number of our commissioners from the Disabilities Commission have joined us now, and so we apologize. I know you really wanted to be here for that. And again, thank you for your contributions to the nomination and selection of the awardee, and also all the great work you do for our citizens with disabilities. So thank you for joining us. And please do, as Randy suggested, and watch the replay of the presentation and award. Mr. Passman, are we okay to proceed? He's giving us
Yes,
a thumbs up.
Yes, sorry,
so,
I wanted thumbs up. Yes, that was perfect, Mayor.
all right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. All right, then we will move on then in the agenda to the consent agenda. And I would ask if there are any members of the board who wish to remove an item on the consent agenda. Seeing none, any members of the audience who wish to remove an item on the consent agenda? Seeing none, are there any members of the board who wish to vote no or pass on any item on the consent agenda? Seeing, Trustee Tinaglia.
I'm just going to beat you to move approval. That's all.
Oh, please do.
Second.
Move approval.
All right, motion to approve by Trustee Tinaglia. Was it Trustee Scaletta? The second. Any further questions or comments from the board or from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Tinaglia?
Yes.
Trustee Scaletta?
Yes.
Trustee Baldino?
Yes.
Trustee Canty?
Yes.
Trustee Rosenberg?
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz?
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck?
Yes.
Trustee Padovani?
Yes.
President Hayes?
Yes. We'll move on then in the agenda to new business, and we do have one item to consider tonight, and that's a request for a sign variation at Northwest Community Wellness Center located at 900 West Central Road to include a number of variations. And so is the petitioner present, a representative from the Wellness Center?
Good evening. My name is Al Jensen, and I'm with Northwest Community Healthcare's Facilities Management Department. I'm dialing in by phone. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you, Mr. Jensen. And why don't you take us through what you're looking to do here before I turn it over to the staff?
Thank you very much, and I appreciate this opportunity. So Northwest Community Hospital started this process probably about a year or so ago, and with the desire of putting up a sign in front of our wellness center there on Central, right next to the hospital. And that particular sign would be a messaging type of sign that would give our community an idea of different programs, benefits, et cetera, being offered on campus at the hospital. And probably most importantly, through our it was actually attached to the wellness center. As we've grown and as our programs have matured, we're seeing that there's an opportunity now for us to do a little better advertising to our community. In the process of doing a sign reassessment on campus, it gave us an opportunity to take a look at the wellness center. And through that process, we have proposed a sign that would match the existing standard landscaping, et cetera, on our campus. And we're asking for those amendments to allow that sign to mature.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jensen. I turn it over to Mr. Perkins, if he's with us. Charles?
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. The hospital is requesting 3 variations from the sign code. The first is to allow an electronic message board sign on Central Road, where the village code does not allow electronic message board signs. If you recall, a few years ago, the board had amended the sign code to allow electronic signage, but on specific corridors, primarily commercial arterial corridors. And Central Road, while it's an arterial, is not a commercial corridor, so they are seeking that variation. The second is to allow for a total of 5 signs where only 2 signs are allowed. They've previously received a variation for 4 signs. They have 2 signs on Central and 2 signs on Kirchhoff Road. This sign would be the 5th sign. And then the third variation is from the spacing requirements. There's a 800-foot spacing requirement between signs on a street frontage to avoid sign clutter. In this particular case, the revised plans, and I'll mention what has changed in a moment, the revised plans call for a 252-foot separation. The Design Commission motion referenced a 152-foot separation. So any reference to 152 feet should be 252 feet. If the board were to choose to go along with the Design Commission's recommendation. And the reason for that change is the Design Commission did have a concern about the proximity of this sign to the existing ground sign on the hospital that directs customers to the emergency room. And after doing some imaging and evaluation of that, the hospital's revised plans shifted that sign so there's further separation from the existing ground sign. So this is really an improvement. So the requested action is correct on the agenda item, but legally we could not change the Design Commission's recommendation. So staff, didn't really have objections to this. We did ask the Design Commission to evaluate whether it was appropriate at this location. When the electronic sign changes were made to the village code, there was discussion about unique situations and unique facilities. The hospital certainly is one. Metropolis Performing Arts Center was a unique situation that you don't have hundreds of those businesses along a corridor that's going to generate sign blight. So the Design Commission did recommend approval of the sign request with some conditions, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that anybody may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Perkins. Questions from the board? Trustee Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mayor. Charles is, I don't know whether you or Mr. Jensen want to answer, but so you're saying now it's 252 feet as opposed to 152, and where is that extra 100 feet coming from?
Basically, they shifted the sign further west on the wellness property. So instead of being closer to the driveway that kind of splits the hospital from the wellness center, it shifted further west about 100 feet.
So is that where there's a depiction on one of the pictures that you gave us, with that sign imposed on the picture there, where it would be, is that, and there's a tree right behind it?
That's correct. That's an approximate kind of photo imaging of where the sign would be placed, provided by the hospital.
So does that electronic sign, is it just on one side or both sides?
It would be on both sides of this. It's a double-faced sign, perpendicular to the road. So the top part would have the Northwest Community Hospital Wellness Center logo, and then the bottom part of the sign, which is about 12 square feet, would be the electronic message board.
And so the tree that is the sign that's superimposed on the picture where the tree is, that wouldn't be covering that backside, or is that?
No, the tree is set a little bit further back. It's hard to tell from the graphic.
Right. That's why it was confusing to figure out, because it seems like the tree is almost like right in the way of where people would be driving down the street from west to east, that it would be completely hidden there.
Yeah, the sign is a 10-foot tall sign. The canopy on that tree, probably is about 8 feet, but I do think it's set back a little bit further, or the tree could be pruned slightly.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right, any other questions from the board? Trustee Scaletta.
Charles, I think this makes a lot of sense, and you know, the property is a very, very large piece of property, encompassing an awful lot of services provided by the hospital, and it's not located directly across the street from any residential, so I think it makes a lot of sense. What is the, I see that there's like a 2-minute static requirement for any signage that they put up there. What is the static requirement for Metropolis?
I think they just follow the code requirements. I don't think there was an additional condition on that sign. I'd have to double check that to be 100% sure. But the typically the village code says messages must be displayed a minimum of 10 seconds. So they can't flash and scroll. You can't do video and movies. So the image has to be up there, stay there for 10 seconds before it can change again. That's what the code requirements say. The Design Commission had a concern with messages occurring too frequently due to the fact that people are coming to the hospital in kind of maybe a panic situation looking for the emergency room, and they want to make sure that that is the primary focus without constant changes to that sign. I believe that was the reasoning for their recommendation.
Okay. I'm just thinking that 10 seconds to 2 minutes seems to be a big change. Just thinking that, if it changed, every minute, I mean, and I also think that these are static images. These aren't like all of a sudden a bottle of Coke is being poured into a glass, and so it's moving. These are static images, and so I just think it's a little bit draconian that we're making it 2 minutes when they're investing an awful lot on a sign that's going to provide a lot of information to our community as well.
Well, certainly the board can choose to modify that particular, condition that was added by the Design Commission. That's the prerogative of the board.
Okay. If anybody else is interested, I'd like to see it reduced from 2 minutes to a minute. I mean, I'm not even asking for every 10 seconds, but 2 minutes seems to be an awful long time. And I'm supportive of the sign, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Even when you look at the aerial map of the hospital, and I live very close to the hospital, so I see it all the time, but it's a large piece of property, and the amount of signs that they have is not significant when you consider, the ingress and egress of the hospital and people who are trying to find the right location to turn in.
All right. Any other questions? Trustee Tinaglia.
Thanks, Mayor Hayes. I agree with Trustee Scaletta. It's a good sign. It's an appropriate situation to use this kind of a sign. I recall back in my Design Commission days, these so-called moving signs were a big topic for a long, long time, as Charles remembers, I'm sure. And we're finally getting to the point where these are beautiful signs instead of ugly, nasty signs. And having them static for some period of time makes good sense. 2 minutes is probably more than we need to do. I would be happy to go to a minute or 30 seconds. I mean, anybody who stares at that sign for more than 30 seconds has got nothing to do. So I would say I'm good with anything in that general range, and I'm prepared to make a motion whenever.
All right. Any other questions or comments from the board? Anything from the audience on this agenda item? Seeing none, Trustee Tinaglia, you want to take a stab at it? And keeping in mind the revision of variation 3 from 152 to 252.
Yeah, I'm going to have trouble pulling it up here because I was in the information from the Design Commission here. So if someone else wants to go ahead, I'll second it.
All right, Trustee Scaletta.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move to concur in the Design Commission's recommendation with the following changes. That number 3 variation is is to allow a ground sign within 252-foot separation, where 800 feet minimum separation between ground signs is required. And then recommendation the recommendation number 4, requirement that the LED component of the electronic sign have a minimum of 2 minutes static hold and any message be changed to 30 seconds.
Second.
Motion by trustee Scaletta, seconded by trustee Tinaglia. Any questions or comments from the board on the motion? Seeing none, any further questions or comments from the audience? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
trustee Canty,
Yes.
trustee Rosenberg,
Yes, Mayor, when we're done, point of order. Just quick.
trustee Padovani,
Yes.
trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
trustee Baldino,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Trustee Rosenberg?
I just want to make sure Mr. Jensen was okay with the changes that we made before we go ahead and approve this. And I just want to make sure that he's okay with the 30-second change. So,
Yes, we can make the 30-second change work.
I mean, is that something that you want, or do you want the 2 minutes?
Well, I mean, any opportunity that we had to display our message, as long as we could, obviously was favorable. But understanding there is a lot of traffic that moves back and forth the front of our building, and to the point that's already been made, you've got nothing to do if you're going to be looking at it. I understand that. So the message locked at the 30 seconds, if that's the variance and that's the process, we can make that work.
Yeah,
No, I think
that is a minimum of 30 seconds. I think others will point that out as well. So if you want to leave it at 2 minutes, you're welcome to do that if you don't have enough information to pass out. But
I think 30 seconds would be a good number.
Right. Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that.
Right. Thank you, Trustee Rosenberg. We have an approved motion, and so congratulations, Mr. Jensen, and good luck to you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful evening.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
you too. There is no other new business, and so we'll move on to the report of the village manager. Mr. Recklaus?
I did have one item to highlight this evening, Mayor. We know that many residents have received letters this week regarding our green aggregation program. And I wanted to clarify a few items. And I know this has been generating some questions. This is indeed a village program. The way that it works is that certain electric customers within the village that have a certain energy usage profile will have their electricity provider switch from ComEd to MC Squared, which is the village's chosen green aggregation provider. The amount that they pay will not change. They will still receive a bill from ComEd as they always have, with the same account number and billing history as before. Residents do not have to do anything for this to occur. The only difference is a single line on their bill will change from Exelon to MC Squared. But again, they'll always pay the same amount as they would have. Their rates will be the same as everyone else's in the community. But as a result of these changes, renewable energy credits, or RECs as they're called in the industry, will be purchased for all Arlington Heights customers from wind providers in the Midwest, meaning that 100% of the power purchased and provided to village customers will be green. The village will also receive a grant of $450,000 over 3 years from MC Squared to help fund green projects in the community. If any resident whose account is selected to be switched would prefer not to participate in this program, they can opt out, and they can do so by calling 833-748-0909 anytime Monday to Friday between 9 and 5, or they can do so online. You can get more information about the program in general or on how to opt out at our website, vah.com. I just want to put that out there. I know that that's been generating some questions, and want to make sure people are aware of how it all works.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Recklaus. Trustee Scaletta?
Randy, what is the deadline for people to opt out?
The deadline is, let me see, I have it right here. Let's see. Bear with me here. No, notices will be mailed on, they have to opt out by November 3rd.
Okay. And so
You're muted, Trustee Scaletta.
there we go. On the village's website, you say that there's a place where people can go to get more information about this as well?
Yes, it's on our very front page, and it's called Green Aggregation Program, and it'll have all the information there.
You did such a good job of explaining that. Maybe you could take this part of the video and link it to it?
It's something we can do for sure.
Okay. I mean, I just think that, you know, when you read it, it may sound a little bit different than what you just explained to all of us. I mean, we understood it when we voted for it, and I think that we're, as a board, looking forward to in a couple of years of using some of that funding to have more green initiatives in our village. So, thank you.
All right, thank you. We move on then to petitions and communications, and I would
Mayor,
just, Trustee.
Mayor, we have a hand up, just so you know.
We do have one hand up. We have a hand up for Melissa Kayer. Melissa, is this on the electrical aggregation?
Yeah, I was wondering, is MC Squared going to sell all that data that they're gathering?
No. That's what we asked as well. They do not sell any of their customers' information.
And what are you giving them to get $450,000?
They are able to, certain customers that they can make more money off of certain customers that have a certain profile by virtue of how they sell and buy their energy. It doesn't cost the customer any additional money, but they kind of work the energy markets, and from that they can use those extra funds partially to provide the civic contribution grant to the village and to purchase those renewable energy credits for all of the customers in Arlington Heights. So again, customers won't pay anything different whether you are or aren't one of the customers selected. You will still pay the same rates as you always have through ComEd.
All right, thanks, Melissa.
Okay.
All right, seeing no other hands, we'll move on to petitions and communications. And under that agenda item, I just want to address the community very briefly as we are approaching Halloween and the holiday season in November and December. I just want to encourage all of our residents and businesses to continue to comply voluntarily with all of the COVID-19 CDC guidelines and restrictions. I know we've had very well-publicized spike in our positive numbers and in the positivity rate in the state of Illinois, throughout the country and around the world. And so we need to continue to be vigilant and diligent in terms of our compliance and make sure that we can do all we can to get back to at least a new normal as soon as possible. And that would include your family gatherings and extended gatherings over the course of the holiday season. We just want to make sure we're careful. Even today, the governor announced some backsliding to previous phases for certain areas of the state. And so there are some restaurants that are only going to be able to have outdoor seating in certain regions in the state of Illinois as a result of their positivity rates above 8%. And so we want to make sure that we do all we can to ensure that our restaurants stay open for indoor dining and make sure that we keep our residents and businesses safe in the midst of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. So thank you for your voluntary compliance. Anything further from the board under petitions and communications? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Scaletta, and who was the second? Trustee Schwingbeck. Thank you. Roll call.
Trustee Scaletta,
Yes.
Trustee Schwingbeck,
Yes.
Trustee Rosenberg,
Yes.
Trustee Tinaglia,
Yes.
Trustee Padovani,
Yes.
Trustee Baldino,
Yes.
Trustee Canty,
Yes.
Trustee LaBedz,
Yes.
President Hayes.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. I apologize for the technical glitches and enjoy the rest of your evening. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
All right.
Good night.
Aye.
Good night. Thank you.